This is Steampunk Stories and AmberStreet.com. I've been thinking this past week and through Christmas about Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is Star Wars being one of my favorite mythologies and one of my favorite topics. Um, I was incredibly disappointed with The Force Awakens, and eventually, pretty soon, I'm going to rewatch the last George Lucas film, Revenge of the Sith. It's my second favorite Star Wars of all time, and somebody online just did a Force Awakens style or Revenge of the Sith trailer in the style of The Force Awakens, and it was very moving to me because there was another reviewer on here who also criticized The Force Awakens on YouTube, but I can't remember. I've watched a lot of movie reviews about The Force Awakens, and he talked about how there was this void that he felt in The Force Awakens, like he could feel, George Lucas missing. And I think it's a great mistake for Disney not to include George Lucas in the sequel trilogy. At least, George Lucas has got at least a few more years left in him. Let him at least advise or co-produce some of these Star Wars movies. But yeah, I am not one of those who hated the prequel trilogy. I thought the prequel trilogy was brilliant. I really loved Revenge of the Sith. It's my second favorite film. It's a close second to Empire Strikes Back. I'd still say Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, but Revenge of the Sith is close behind. And just the tension of the characters, the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader, Mace Windu, which was one of my favorite characters from the prequel trilogy, seeing him him tragically getting cut down by Anakin and killed by Emperor Palpatine. The whole movie plays out like a Greek tragedy, and it's sad, and I really like that one emotional moment where Ewan McGregor, playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, says, "You were the chosen one. You were supposed to defeat the Sith, not join them." That was just really emotional. And I just don't get how everybody likes to nitpick the film and talk about how the dialogue was bad. I didn't think the dialogue was bad. I thought a lot of the dialogue was average to very good. A lot of the dialogue was actually great. And one thing a lot of people don't or take for granted is the Jedi are supposed to be stoic. They're supposed to kind of like Vulcans in a way. They're supposed to repress their emotions. They're not supposed to have attachments. They're not supposed to have love interest or emotions, hence Anakin Skywalker turned to the dark side of the Force. And so I think people confuse George Lucas's direction, the way he depicts Anakin Skywalker as being wooden. It's actually Jedi. He's just a Jedi stoic. It's Jedi stoic. It's a Jedi emotional detachment, and that's the way I took the character. That on the surface, he shows no emotion, but underneath, he's bubbling with emotion, which is the risk when you repress your emotions. And I really love the mythology in the prequels, where you had a clone army who were genetically programmed not to think for themselves, versus a droid army who were programmed not to think for themselves. Kind of like in Real War, where you have two armies or two factions fighting against each other, and they belong to the cult. They don't think for themselves. They don't think outside the box. And there's a very subtle and clever anti-war message in the prequels. So, anyway, enough said. That's just my random thought for the day. I'm going to do more brief updates soon. I think people missed that. And I'm going to go back. I've been sick, so I'm going to go back to doing a live show every other Wednesday, starting this Wednesday coming up, which will be starting this Wednesday, and then from this Wednesday on, Every other Wednesday, I will be doing a live show, a mystery of the week, tech tip of the week. So stay tuned for more. This is Steampunk Star Rays and out. You have a nice day. I will see you 25 billion years.